Ever wondered why the United States, one of the most advanced countries, doesn't have high-speed trains? Well, it's not due to a lack of technology or resources, but a complex mix of historical, political, and financial factors. Let's dive in. Historically, the U.S. chose a different path when it came to transportation. In the early 20th century, the country poured funding into highways and airports, driven by a desire for widespread car ownership and an expanding aviation industry. As a result, while Europe and Asia were investing in rail, the U.S. focused on highways, and that decision set the stage for decades to come. When we talk about high-speed rail today, Japan's Shinkansen, France's TGV, or China's expanding network often come to mind. These countries prioritized rail, seeing it as essential infrastructure. But in the U.S., rail development stagnated, and many of our train routes today run at speeds similar to those from the mid-20th century. For example, Amtrak's Acela service, often called the U.S.'s fastest train, maxes out at speeds that are considered normal or even slow in countries with true high-speed rail. One of the main reasons for this difference is funding. In other countries, governments cover a large portion of rail construction costs. In the U.S., federal and state funding is often directed towards roads and airports rather than rail. Additionally, there's the powerful lobbying of airlines, car manufacturers, and oil companies that see high-speed rail as competition. As a result, proposals for high-speed rail have faced steep opposition and long delays. But why does it matter? High-speed trains aren't just about speed, they can reduce traffic congestion, cut down on emissions, and provide an accessible, affordable option for millions of people. Imagine traveling from New York to Washington, D.C. in under 2 hours, or connecting Los Angeles and San Francisco with a rail journey that takes less time than a flight. The benefits could be huge, especially as we look for ways to reduce our carbon footprint and relieve overcrowded airports. There are some ongoing efforts, like California's high-speed rail project, but even that has faced significant delays, budget issues, and opposition. Building these systems requires not just funding, but a shift in priorities and public support. Other regions, like the Midwest and the Northeast Corridor, have discussed or planned high-speed rail, but so far, progress has been slow. Ultimately, whether or not the U.S. invests in high-speed rail could depend on public demand and political will. If more people recognize the potential of high-speed rail and push for change, it's possible we'll finally see a transformation in the U.S. rail system. But for now, fast trains remain just out of reach.